Alive, and things are going wrong already. So, hello everyone, if you are watching the VOD, I need a drink already, because good lord, I need one. So yes, if you're watching the VOD, hello, thank you very much for tuning in. For those of you who are watching this live, you probably won't even see this, because this is the usual setup bit. My PC decided to do this thing where it shut itself down and then switched itself back on. It does this thing as if you basically turned off the plug at the wall, then turned it back on, and it all switches itself back on. And it really does delay everything because it does behave in the sense that you basically turn the whole thing off and then back on again. So it's going to take me a moment to get everything back to what it should be, which is really frustrating. I need to do the Discord ping as well. Oh, this is all stuff that's going to take forever because my PC is slow and rubbish and I can't afford a new one. Oh, to be poor, you know. Well, that and bad choices, but that's besides the point. Alright, so quickly now, quickly. Come on, come on, come on. I need to switch to the daytime setting as well. I got the dark theme set for YouTube, so it was a bit, you know. So if I open up a new tab, oh, now you can see me. Right, so I'm going to be quiet for a few moments whilst I get this all set up. Okay, then. Come along, come along. God, everything is so slow and I hate it. Playlist, live streams, blah, save. Organization. Get that on. Shouldn't be. So I go to there, live. That should now be live. God, this PC is so rubbish. On the plus side, if it does shut off again, the stream doesn't come to an end because I'm using the tablet. Moderation activities now hidden. Okay, that's good. If I go to edit video, is that actually going to show that it's on? Right, first of all, bright theme. Aha, now you can see me. Excellent. Right. And we're only 4 minutes in. 4 minutes into my live stream, and it took all that time to set up because my computer is rubbish. Well, I'll have to set it back to dark after that. That's okay. I'm going to make sure this thing is up to... Alright, we're good. Yep, good. Check. Right. Copy. Over to Discord. Don't you just love technology sometimes, you know? If you are still watching the VOD at this point, I really hope you'll skip to forward a couple of minutes. What? Everything's fine. Stop showing me stuff I don't care about. Live streams. At everyone. We are live now. Right now, 225 people in the Discord server. That's pretty good, you know. That's a good chunk of people. Right. Now then, let's wait for people to show up. 5 minutes into the stream already, and now we're ready to go. Normally it takes about 2 minutes. The stream preparation has to be done on stream, but that's not good. I need to get my schedule up. Monta, hello. Montague, hello. Thank you very much for tuning in. How are you doing? Be interesting to see who tunes in this time, because this is the first live stream I've done where it's well, 12 for me in the middle of the day. So usually there's people who like a regular group of people who tune in for the evenings. There's a regular group of people who tune in a little bit earlier in the morning, and yeah, trying to figure out different time zones, different people are going to be available. So seeing who's around at this time is going to be pretty interesting. Right, I've got a couple of things I could talk about during this stream, so that's good. Not that one. We'll start from there, I suppose. Sure. Video. We'll talk about video ideas. Should I do a video on that? Speaking of video ideas. Yeah, let me write that down. Okay. Oh yeah, that's a I need to do. Okay. Oh no, why is it okay? Okay, so there we go. Cobbs289, hello, thank you very much for tuning in. Lucian, hello, yes, another live stream, and it is midday for me. It's be very interesting to see how well this one goes. It should be okay, because, you know, it's a standard sit down and chat live stream. It's just seeing how many people tune in. And, yeah, that's going to be something to... Well, I've committed to doing this again tomorrow in the day, which is basically Friday, so Thursday and Friday. I'm going to be doing this sort of live stream again at this time, so hopefully this one works out well. So we got that one there. Sure, that's a thing to talk about. That's all a thing to... I'm going to have to scrap that idea, sadly. Yeah, I'm going to... Oh, damn it. I don't have the choice for that. That's all right, though. Following, follow. That's all of that. Okay. Do you have any advice on powering narrow gauge trains? Nope, because I'm still figuring that out myself. So if you are... did I post this in Discord? Let me have a quick look. If I go to layout and city mocks, did I post it in there? Well, not really, but, well, kind of. So I recently posted a... Well, at least in Discord, so what I'm looking at here, posted a picture of a narrow gauge layout idea that I really want to do. And it's the idea of having an elevated running line, which is something I've always wanted. But the way that my layout is now being rebuilt, I've now got the narrow gauge loop separate, but it's elevated in its own way. And the idea of it is to connect it to the main loop through kind of its own thing. There's a lot of stuff I'm trying to figure out, but the issue is, in my mind, it can work. But at the same time, I need to have... This is one of those moments where I need to have everything down on the table to actually see and make sure it's all correct. So there's a lot for me to get on with. I need to go through my box of extra tracks. So because I have been changing my layout so much, a lot of track has become freed up, and in turn that means I have a lot of those grey plates that sit on them. I'm going to need those grey plates. Ideally they should be green, but I can figure that out in due time, where I can use that to act as the main base plate pieces to elevate the track. The problem is I am waiting on a... Well, there's only so much I'm allowed to say. I'm waiting on an order from Lego with parts on the way in order for me to elevate the track in the first place. So I've got an idea drawn. Do I have my book? Oh, so, I can't... I could show you, but well, the sketch itself is actually quite iffy, so it's not really something I can actually show you, which is a bit of a shame. But I do have ideas written down, so in time I can't really start it straight away, which is the most frustrating thing. So in time I will get to that. But because I'm now getting into layout, narrow gauge layout stuff properly, I've never had to look at how to power stuff for narrow gauge in the first place. And like Lucian said a moment ago, a medium motor seems to be the best way to go. Gearing it in such a way where it's got good torque, because if it's like a medium motor especially, that's got to be kind of weak. But again, I've never powered anything for a narrow gauge track before, so yeah, we're gonna have to see how it goes. Penzi6755. Hello, thank you very much for tuning in. Game over. Is that I've never seen someone use like an emoji sort of thing in chat before. That's interesting. But all the same, thank you very much for tuning in. Usually to motorize a narrow gauge train, it's horizontal medium motor with a geared train between the axles that drives the bevel gears and the wheels. Yeah, that's how I kind of have it in my mind as well. The bike chain idea that Cobb says is, yeah, that I wouldn't want to try anything with the chain, to be honest. That's a bit well, that's just my lack of experience talking there as well. I don't really gear stuff in that kind of way to begin with. So here's to hoping I can. Well, the problem is I don't have a spare battery box or infrared receiver. I might have to get power up stuff, but just thinking that that's not impossible. I could definitely make it work, because my model of Daisy has a power up motor in it, so that's on one channel. I could have the narrow gauge train. That saves on having to use a infrared receiver as well, so that's actually really possible. But depending on how chunky the power up stuff is, anyways. So I think if I get a power up motor and a battery box, and set that up to the other channel, so that way I can control the inside loop and the narrow gauge loop with one controller. That really is possible, you know? Yeah, that's a good idea. It's going to be really expensive, but you have to think about that in due time. Yeah, I'm going to have to go to the Lego store and have a look. I suppose I could take advantage of that day then. Yeah, there's a lot. Sorry, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things going through my head over these past few days, and it's stuff that's not really ideal. I've been left alone with my own thoughts for the past, basically the last week, and that's always dangerous, you know. Yes. So let's have a look at chat. What's your opinion on the Hogwarts? Sorry, I thought that said hot dog for a second. The Hogwarts Collector Edition set. Which one? Which collector's edition set? Is there more than one? If you mean the Hogwarts Express, then I've made my opinion known on that a couple of times. I don't mind saying so again here, but just are there any other collectors? Lego Harry Potter collectors set. Is it just the Hogwarts Express? Well, there's Hogwarts Icons. The Express. Okay, fair enough. So yeah, I'll get to that in a second. There's a Hogwarts Icons line with Hedwig, the castle. Yeah, naturally already expensive. I've been thinking about selling on my Hogwarts Express set, to be honest. I still don't like it. So, you know, that's well, that I suppose says it all already. But as a train set, I don't like it. And I still don't like it. I'm honestly really tempted to sell the set, because there are people out there who are fans of Harry Potter and Lego Harry Potter, who would like that set as a display piece and would really enjoy it. But me, as a Lego train builder, I don't enjoy it. So looking at that set, it's like, it's not what I want. And the issue is, again, like I said, there's been a couple of times where I've been tempted to try and sell it on, because it doesn't, I haven't touched it since I've built it. It's been in a box. The issue, actually, no, because there's another thing as well. So there is a potential Lego show I am doing in a few months' time. And the theme of this particular Lego show is, because it's very automotive themed. So planes, trains, and automobiles is quite literally the basic theme of the that show. And look at the shadow. We've got sunlight. It's the whole joy of doing a live stream in the middle of the day. We have light. You can actually see me. Oh, this is so good. Anyways, yes. Yeah, so That stupid giant train, yeah, it's only worth it for the massive. Well, even then, I haven't really done anything with those wheels. I have every now and then kept an eye out on. Oh, sorry, let me just okay, there we go. Every now and then I have kept up on Bricklink. I haven't done this in a while either, just to see who is selling those giant train wheels and what the prices are for them. They're naturally expensive, and I suppose that kind of makes sense. But at the same time, it's not something I've ever committed and went ahead with. So even that is something that has lost desire with me because I just don't care. It comes from a set that, well, the wheels themselves are actually quite bad. Well, the size is really cool. I love that. But at the same time, the fact that the crank axle is an extra stud away from the, or the crank pin is one stud away from the center axle. So that's a 5 stud rotation compared to the 3 stud rotation that every other train wheel has. It makes making models with that more difficult. You can't have anything covering the wheels at all because there's going to be insane collision and it's just not what you want. So yeah, I mean there is still a good chunk to really talk about. But you know, it is what it is. I don't knock the set for what it is because it's a display set, but at the same time, I do knock it because it's a train set that you can't really use. It's a display set. It's something that I bought as an I bought it because well in my mind is I'll buy it and test around with it so you don't have to. But now I'm at the point where I don't want it anymore. So the reason, so going back to that Lego show thing I mentioned a moment ago, yeah, no blind wheels either, which is it makes sense because it's a static model, it's a display model. They weren't going to make blind wheels in the first place. They weren't going to bother making another mold and another, another dedicated process to make another piece that was, well, could technically be used. I mean, at the same time, given the size of those wheels, if you had how do I word this? So if you had obviously you got the flange wheels, and then you got the blind ones. You're gonna make a Pacific. Just like, you're gonna make your own flying Scotsman that's really big to fit on the normal tracks, and you're gonna use those wheels. That would never go over the curves and the corners and the points that Lego themselves have made. Anything that's R40, that would never work. So it makes sense as to why there is no blind wheels because they probably already recognized for a functional model for our track that's never going to work. So there's no point in making the blind wheel. People can figure it out as much as they like, but yeah, it, it's just one problem after another. So yeah. But anyways, going back to what I said a moment ago, let's head out of there. Maybe that. Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, going back to Discord. So yeah, going back to what I said a moment ago about the Lego show that's going to be potentially coming up in a couple of months' time. Set in a museum, and it's all going to be automotive themed. It would be cool to keep that set, but until that show. After the show, I can sell it on and get rid of it because again, I don't really care for it anymore. But the idea is to have a motor on the dome where the little crank handle is where you get to turn the wheels. So because this is going to be a 1 day show, I can set up a motor, hook that up to a battery box, put it on the lowest speed setting, and just let the wheels turn like that. And that could be its own thing for, as that's its own little extra display, so to say, for the day. And that would be quite interesting to make. I mean, it's definitely possible for me to make a jig, something to hold the motor kind of in place and make sure it's all kind of balanced and whatnot. And yeah, it's definitely possible for what it is. I mean, Hogwarts Express as well is still a very recognizable locomotive. And again, there's a lot of things going on with that. I would like to try and make that work, but the thing is, that's again a couple months down the line. It's not that show isn't even set in stone, and again, I don't have any spare battery boxes or infrared receivers. I've got medium and extra large like cylindrical motors, but again, the other things that actually go with it, I don't have spare. Um, yeah, so that's a thing on its own. I am gonna have to. Oh, sorry, I'm just thinking as well. because of the extra coaches I have built for my Express. First of all, so those of you who weren't in the previous live stream, my Coronation Scots Express, I've now decided a name for it called the Titheridge Star. There is some personal elements to that name, and it's a really cool thing to see and kind of have written down. So it's it is the the Coronation Scot to everyone else, but to me that's the Titheridge Star. So whenever I say the Titheridge Star, that's what I'm referring to. But for generic sake, sometimes I'll just call it my Express. But anyway, that's set. So I now have 13 coaches for it. It's got the main 9, the 10th bonus coach at the end, the club car. Coaches 11 and 12 are the twin articulated coaches, and the 13th coach is the half-length one that stores some workers. And that's its own really cool thing. But because of how much weight is there, previously I gave it 6 motors. Now it has 8 motors, each with their own infrared receiver and with their own battery box. Now I am tempted to try and look at ways to connect both motor setups to one infrared receiver. I don't know how easy that's going to be because I'm going to need some more cables. And if it turns out, because you have to put the cable endpoints on top of each other for it all to work, if it becomes too tall, it might not even be possible. But it would be good if I could try and learn or discover a way to connect wires, and again, different battery box and motor setups to one infrared receiver. That way I could take, because there's 8 motors, that's 8 battery boxes and 8 infrared receivers. It's very excessive, I know, but I am not anywhere close to the day where I can get roller bearing wheels for the coaches. Once that happens, I could take about half of those motor setups out. And I think I might even just wait for that, because trying to figure out all the wire, I don't even have enough cables to kind of figure out in the first place, which is quite frustrating. But this is his own thing as well. There's a lot of stuff that I could do this one thing in the meantime, but I'd rather wait for something else, which would ultimately be better. So yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, that's something else I was going to discuss as well. It makes me sound really greedy, but it's a thing. Let me double check something real quick. Okay, so I need to go. Is the website even up? I'm finally back online. Oh, and they've changed this around as well. That's interesting. Sorry about this, by the way. I'm just checking a thing. There's any that. If I did. Right. Okay. They have changed that quite. Well, that's a good thing, I suppose. But they've definitely done a lot to really change that. That's not good in some way. Right. Anyways, so okay. So with that bit of research I've just done, I'm going to put that extra bit on hold for the time being. I do need to double check. You know what? No, scrap that, because I'm not in a position where I can actually comfortably do that. Right, okay. We'll leave that be, and we will move on to our next order of business, which is, I suppose, video topics. Yeah, let's talk about videos, because this is what the whole channel's about, isn't it? Got the diesel fuel. It's not burp juice anymore. It's my diesel fuel. If I'm going to accept diesels in any kind of way, let's just go with this. Right. So, it was yesterday. Let's have a quick look at the analytics of something. So, it was yesterday that I uploaded my video of Arthur. Yes, it was yesterday. My Arthur Mock Showcase video went live, and in about 20, well, what did we say, about nearly 21, like 20 and a half hours, it's gained 371 views, which is excellent. Well, that's good stuff in terms of modern performance, but that's besides the point. But yes, the new series of this new batch of Thomas characters is on its way out. There are 9 videos in total. There were 9 videos in total, so 9 new characters. Well, 10 if you want to count Annie and Clarabelle as separate ones. So Annie and Clarabelle have gone out. So we've got Daisy gone out. Fergus went out, which was quite popular, which is really good to see because Fergus is his own little funky model. And we have Arthur as the latest one, and that is a surprisingly popular character. Yeah, so that's going really well, and I'm really happy to see that. On the way, we still did I say this previously? I don't know if I said this previously, or if, just in case there's spoilers or anything. I may as well. Well, this goes into another thing as well because if I sit up here a little bit, there we go, make myself a bit more comfortable. So Arthur is video or character 4 of 9 that I've got uploaded so far. Also on the way, I have Stanley, Neil, Harvey, Ryan, and Mavis. I want to say I've said that before, but I can't remember if I did so on YouTube or Discord or somewhere else. I've shown work in progress pictures on my Instagram, so I've kind of shown that off in a way. But yeah, I mean, officially, those are the characters I've got on the way, which is excellent. So yeah, so the characters I just revealed, so Stanley, Neil, Harvey, Ryan, and then Mavis, in that order, those will be the models that will be coming out. They are a few days between uploads, of course, to give the previous video a bit of time to actually perform and do well. Oh, pardon me. And in terms of Thomas characters, there is a thing I've also decided upon. So this batch of Thomas characters, these were built in about 2 weeks, which was absolutely spectacular. So yeah, so that was all really fun, but the problem is I've got 2 full boxes of Thomas characters. Excellent. But that's pretty much everyone I could make. I mean, there are a couple more, there's 2 more characters on the way afterwards, but that's it. I've made all the popular and well-known characters. There's so many more I could build. You know, Connor and Caitlin would be fun to make. Someone like Timothy because it's a unique little model. Porter, Craig, you know, countless more characters that will be good or at least interesting to see Brick built. But who cares about them? That's the sad thing. So I've got those ones on the way. In time, I want to make Molly, which is a character from the model series, as a locomotive and in her livery, the yellow livery, which is gorgeous. I really want to make her. She is a Great Eastern Railway Class D56, which is, again, really cool looking. And my final ever Thomas character that I'm going to build will be Diesel 10. Gonna end the entire series on an absolute banger with Diesel 10. BR Class 42 warship, which is quite famous for because of Diesel 10. And everyone, it's so weird looking at a 42 as it is because Diesel 10 has Pinchy, and of course that's just something unique to the character. That's not a thing on the real locomotive. So yeah, that's a really fun thing to try and figure out. A friend of mine and fellow clubmate has made a Lego Diesel 10. So I am going to be looking at his model for inspiration and kind of pointers on how I'm going to make my one. So that's going to be pretty interesting for when I eventually get around to that. But again, I'm trying to put things on hold for a while because, you know, there are things I still want to do. But at the same time, I'm not in the best position to do so. I'm trying to make commitments to stuff and it's not going well for personal reasons. Again, I don't want to go into that too much. But yeah, a lot of stuff I really want to do is actually being pushed back. So once I finally get Molly and Diesel 10 done, then I'm going to make my grand showcase video of all of my Lego Thomas characters. because that was I did a grand showcase video before in the past of all my Lego trains. When did I make that video? Because I think it did really well. But how old is it? It was also quite out of date. Well, I made it out of date when I decided to modify some of the engines. Where are you? I'll show it wide. Oh, a little bit before then. Yeah, so it was July last year. July! God damn. Okay, that's a lot longer ago than I thought it would be. So yeah, so 1900 views. That's really good to see. And it's basically all of the Lego trains that I've built, all the real ones and all of the Thomas characters, kind of all in one big video. It's just under 13 minutes long, and it's just, here's 20 seconds per model to get a good look at each of them, and then, that's it. No commentary, bit of background music, which is fun. Yeah, a very different style of video. And that's the sort of thing I basically want to do again once I have all of my Thomas characters built. But the funny thing with that video in particular was some of the real engines got scrapped, other ones got converted to an 8 wide model. More Thomas characters were built soon after, and yeah, I basically again made it an out of date video soon after, which is quite funny. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a video format that works really well. So that's something I am keeping in mind. Let's have a look at the chat now, because I saw that going on. If you're ever lost for a character to build, maybe try one of those HST power cards from the books. Oh, you mean Pip and Emma? That's no, that's interesting, because that could be in its own express set for the railway, but again, it's not really something I can feasibly do, in the sense that money and space, basically. That's the main issue. Didn't you make a version of Ryan in yellow? You know what, I'm actually really glad you remember that, because that's quite the something. So unofficially, yes, so Ryan is an 062 tank engine, and a couple of years ago I made an 082 tank engine in yellow, and it's not it wasn't it was a custom designed locomotive, so it wasn't based on anything, but I can understand what you mean when you say like it's a yellow version of Ryan, but that wasn't where that was really going. The model of Ryan as well, the model of Ryan that I've made is also much more accurate to the actual locomotive, also in the purple livery. Yes, it's in purple because it's a fun color to build in. But yeah, I mean, that's really cool that you remember that, though. That's amazing. Lucian says there's a guy in Australia who has built an insane diesel 10. That would be Ryan Evans. Yeah, I have seen. Do I go into this? Because this is something I've said countless times. Okay. Let me just clean that up. I'm going to go onto Flickr 1 second, and I want to double check his page, because I want to make sure that what I'm saying is correct. But I don't want to piss anyone off either. Right, okay. Search people. Because there was something in particular about Ryan's models. Well, it was half of that and half of Ryan. That really turned me off, specifically with the Thomas and Friends side of things. Okay, so I'm on Flickr right now. I'm looking at his model of Diesel 10, and that is an excellent looking model. So he's made other characters, Harvey. There's another picture here, Harvey, Spencer, and Murdoch in one picture. And they look excellent as well. As Flickr takes forever to load as usual. It really does look excellent. Like, some of these models do look good. But there are other models that he has made that I am not particularly a fan of. I'm not going to go any further into any kind of details like that. But the issue that I have here is I can't remember the conversation. It was so long ago. But I think it was when did I first make my Thomas characters? Because this kind of helps set up what I'm trying to say as well. So to simply put it, with Ryan Evans and his Thomas again, it's half him and half the Thomas characters that he's made. There was a case or a thing I want to say it was when I first posted my original five. So when I made Thomas, Edward, James, Gordon, and Henry, and I posted them online, it got a good bit of attention. I made the first five for a while, and it was about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I need to double check because again, this was a long time. So I passed all of them. Da, da, da. This is taking a while. Second batch of characters, yeah, very good. And obviously, when you look back at some of the stuff I've made about 2 years ago, I have come a good way since then. And some characters could definitely, well, at the same time, some characters I would like to update, but don't need updating. So, what does it say? Oh my god, some of the old stuff. Where is, all right, let's go from here. That's fine. So, my video of Gordon, I uploaded that when YouTube decides to load. Bloody hell, my PC is rubbish. What's the upload date? Doesn't it? April 17th, 2021. So nearly 2 years ago, basically. Okay. So these models are what my build style was 2 years ago, basically. And when I posted these online, again, the first five characters, um, Thomas, Edward, Gordon, Henry, and James. You look at them and you think, yeah, there's some simplicity to them, but you can definitely tell that they are those characters. And some of the characters I've made in these last couple of batches are way better in terms of build skill and the overall look of the model. And I remember Ryan Evans specifically posting, well, I posted that and he commented saying, I don't remember what it was word for word, but it was something along the lines of nobody else has built a Thomas character like this. So he was basically saying it in the sense that he put himself on this pedestal of the Thomas characters I've built are the best ones. And you are the only other person who has finally made a good Thomas character. And it was this sort of self-absorbed, I've built these Thomas characters, therefore these are the best ones. And the Lego Thomas character and the Lego Thomas scene has really grown. There's not that many people building them, but at the same time, with the amount of people that are and what they are producing, it's amazing. And the issue I have is looking at some of his models. Like, okay, so Donald and Douglas, his model of Duck, his model of Diesel, and there's a number of other ones where yes, it shows the build method of his time, but the thing I hate about him is the fact that he still parades these as the best model, like versions of the model for this character that will ever be in existence. It's yeah, I mean, I don't like bashing on people because I want to grow this hobby and not again bash anyone. But again, if there's this unique level of arrogance that comes from him where it's do you know what I'm trying to say? Again, I don't want to say anything too bad, but at the same time there was stuff that he said and he put out there that was just not what he should have said, and I don't like him for it. He's not going to watch this and he's not going to care either way, but yeah, there are things that you can have opinions on, like how you've built your model versus how someone else has built their model. Again, like my model of, I don't know, Arthur, because I uploaded my model of Arthur yesterday. Let's just go with that. Let's just say there's a number of other people out there who have built their version of Arthur. You look at them, you can go, oh, I like how you did this, but I prefer my one. You will naturally prefer your own model because you built it after all. And there is a difference of saying, I prefer my model, but I love what you've made, compared to, my model is better than yours. It was, yeah. So Lucian, like you just said there is an ego trip going on with him. It's, yeah. I mean, this is going on much longer than I thought it would, but it's definitely something I don't like talking about because having gone through his Flickr just now as well, again, some of them I have no idea if he has updated any of his model designs because looking through some of these pictures, they're from 2018, I think they were. So that's 4.5, 5 years ago for when the pictures were probably taken. So if he's rebuilt models since then cool. But he hasn't published or made public any of those pictures or models, so it's difficult to make a more accurate judgment. But it's still the basic, yeah, again, basically an ego trip. His models didn't change. Okay, so okay, all right. I'll leave it there then, because if he hasn't changed his models, then his mindset probably hasn't. If okay, no. We're done here, okay? I don't want to say any more because I don't want to get anyone into trouble. It's a hobby for everyone. We can all have fun and expand and learn and play together. Let's not bash each other anymore, but not everyone's going to get along. Okay, hello. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's 7:30 a.m. for you. That's very good that you were able to tune in. Here's to hoping you are not interfering anything for the sake of watching the stream. Carry on with your morning routine. Never mind about me. I mean, the VOD's going to be up anyway, so you can kind of watch it there, I suppose. Right. I need to. Wait, let me quickly update this because those numbers are incorrect. YouTube has been a bit rubbish recently because when I did the premiere for my latest episode of the BRB podcast, which is something else I could talk about, it's always showed that there was only one person watching live. Where when I had the stream open on or the premiere open on my phone to kind of go through the comments or check anything there, it kept on saying that the numbers were kind of going up and down. So maybe it's just on my PC again, but I don't like how it stays on one static number. I don't know. Right, speaking of the Brick Railway Builders podcast, I, first of all, when I made the post or the poll a day or two ago, let's have a look at this poll as well because this is relevant. So I made a poll, I think it was yesterday as well. Yeah, it was yesterday. So the idea was more episodes of the Brick Railway Builders podcast can go on. I mean, the interview style is really fun to do, but finding guests really is difficult. I mean, returning guests would be something to do one day in the future, but that's only if I'm desperate and I can't get anyone else on. So, in the meantime, one thing I wanted to do, and with the people who took part in this poll who said yes to this idea, is to have sort of what do you call it, like individual podcasts, more topic themed podcast episodes. So the idea is it will just be me, sort of similar to this sort of setup, I suppose. I could even live stream it, put the live stream on private, edit it down for the public viewing. So that'd be good. So the idea is, of course, it would just be its own podcast. It's just me talking about a certain topic in the hobby. So all the topic themes I've got written down at the moment: power systems and the competition of powering locos versus powering wagons, comparing Lego trains to toy trains and model trains, all the custom stuff you can get for the hobby, including tracks, wheels, and rods, looking at Lego train sets back in the sort of 80s and 90s compared to what we got in modern day. The idea of Lego train themed clubs and competitions. I mean, we do have quite a few of them. Brick built Thomas characters and Thomas themed models, because we were talking about that a moment ago, but it's definitely something that is relevant in the hobby. Lego trains at Lego shows and the public representation and presentation of Lego trains as the sort of subgenre hobby thing. Again, wording is still being written down. The Lego ideas nightmare dream, nightmare. because in order for us to get some good Lego train sets, or at least for a lot of people, getting a new Lego train set, if anything, has to come through ideas, and it has to be popular enough and pushed enough for it to be considered. And that happened with the Orient Express. Interesting. Here's to hoping they don't do the same thing as the Hogwarts Express set, because if they do, it's going to flop. Oh dear. Another topic idea is ideal tips for new members in the hobby. There is always going to be someone who will look at the hobby and go, you know what, let's give that a try. And they're going to be taking their first steps and they need to know what they should be doing, what they should be avoiding, etc. So that's a good thing to do. And the last one I got written down, this is at the bottom of the list because this is something I don't really do myself, is building to scales and gauges. So scale is a thing that you could go on about for an entire week. And I don't build to any scale because that's not something I've done. I've always looked at bricks and go, okay, this piece for this bit, this piece for this bit, and just go from there. You can actually build to a scale, and there are a couple of scales. I think, am I correct in remembering? Lego 1 to 32 scale trains. There's a 1 to 48, 1 to 43 and a half. Then there's the gauge 1 scale, which is what the Hogwarts Express sets is. But I want to say I was seeing 1 to 32. Yeah, there is a 1 to 32 scale Lego trains of section. That's really cool. So that's the thing I could do some research on and have a look at. I haven't done anything on Reddit for the longest time. Oh, Reddit. I've got notifications. Oh, who cares? It's like boring stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of things you can look at here and go, yeah, that's pretty interesting. So that's scale. But the idea of gauge is we do have two different gauges of track. We have the standard track that is used universally, and we have the narrow gauge track where there's only two studs between the rail. That's a thing we can talk about. That's something to go on the list. So yeah, there is a lot that can be utilized for this new topic discussion episode format. So again, this is the idea where I can talk about these for, oh no, again, 40 minutes to an hour, depending on how long the episode actually goes on for. And it's a way of having episodes of the podcast there. In the events, I want to do another, like if it goes too long with, oh, let's say it, like 5 weeks later from now, I haven't done a podcast episode. It's like, right, time to do one of these because it's been 5 weeks without an episode. I can't go that much longer. I don't want this to kind of flatline. So the interview series, the interview style series will be very fun to continue, of course, but getting on guests is kind of difficult. Again, time zones, finding who to have on, etc. And this is a good, well, this is basically filler. I mean, the interview stuff is the more main thing because I'm chatting with someone and that's much more exciting. But at the same time, there needs to be something done for this to happen. I mean, having this be a conversation thing for a live stream was interesting, but ultimately something, well, not so much podcast focused, but putting it in the podcast format and labeling it as the Brick Railway Builders podcast is wiser, in my opinion. It would be better to do it that way instead of labeling this as something else, because starting a whole new series again is not really what I want to do. And it would be nice, again, just labeling it as a podcast is ultimately wiser for the presentation side of things. But I don't want to tread on, well, I don't know. I was going to say I don't want to tread on toes of the club who have done group discussion podcast episodes of this sort of thing. They haven't covered every topic here, but it's still something for me to do, you know? All right, I can get rid of that one. I'm here. You know, Discord. What's going on Discord? Is everyone okay? Oh yeah, we had someone new join today. From the narrow gauge discussion in the live stream. That's cool. Somebody actually linked it, and they were tuning in. Nice. Okay. Goddamn Lego train scales. Yeah, it's definitely not something that is again. There's a reason why I've put that at the bottom of the list, because it is a hellish thing to talk about. And there was another discussion that I remember going back a couple of weeks ago or something like that, where someone was, okay, I don't want to say who because again, just generalizing here. Someone who was, I suppose, somewhat newer to the hobby was talking about building something to scale, but didn't use 1 to 43.5, 1 to 32, that sort of thing. They said, I'm building to a 7 wide scale, which is incorrect. You're building a model that's 7 studs wide, that isn't a scale. And everything just went from there. So, yeah, that's something that has to be covered and understood as well. There is a difference between these sort of elements, and how you describe it may or may not make sense. So that episode could be very important, but it's just, again, it's the topic I've talked about the least on, or done anything at all with, for that matter. Again, I don't build to the scale, I just build to what I believe looks good. So yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting episode. I build to 1 to 45 scale, and I wish I didn't. It's excruciating. It's, what does Joe build to? Because I have seen, so there's a, again, club member called Brecklin Bricks. Yes, that Brecklin Bricks. He builds to 1 to 43.5, I think. So the difference in size over, like the overall model size, shouldn't be too different. I don't know how difficult that is, but again, this comes from inexperience here. So yeah, there's other things to that. You know what? I'll leave that be. I won't look at that later on. I had to reshuffle as well, sit down a bit differently to get my legs flowing again. I'm gonna have pins and needles for the next 10 minutes. It's gonna be horrible. Is there anything left to talk about? Well, yes, there is, because we have about 10 minutes left. Okay, then. So, there are more video. Yeah, there was a couple of video things I went over. So, first of all, I have a Lego video on the way that isn't train focused, which is a bit of heresy, I know, because I do Lego railway stuff. But the reason why I'm now deciding to do this video kind of soon is because the idea behind this model was for it to be absolutely massive. But looking at how things are at the moment, I've had this realization multiple times is, yes, what I want to build would be cool, but that's never going to happen because it's just too big. So what I've got at the moment is, that's it. That's going to be as it. Should I get that? It's actually not that difficult to get. You know what? I'll get this. Stand by. Give me a few minutes. Here's to hoping it doesn't fall over. I think we'll be all right. Ooh. Here we go. Actually, I can't do that there because the bloody ceiling's in the way. Okay. Let's get ourselves ready now. That needs reattaching, that's okay. Does anybody remember this? I don't think I've shown this off on YouTube before, but yeah, I can't shuffle over that much further because of the bloody angled wall. I do apologize. But yeah, this is a thing that I have built. And there we go, that's back in the box. That's good. I could put a lid on that. I have to figure out how I'm going to play with that for transport. Who just came into the chat? I need to see that. Montague. Yeah, okay, somebody recognizes it. Cool. I don't remember where I've shown that off before because, again, it's been forever. So that is the bust, or like their head upwards, of Deathwing from World of Warcraft. The idea was to make a full statue of Deathwing, massive wings and all of that. So yeah, so that kind of came to a halt because obviously that being, that tall, massive wings, where the bloody hell am I going to put that? Yeah, so that's the issue. Yeah, I think I put it in Discord, if anywhere. So the old wings with the cloth material, that's been completely scrapped as well. It's just that now. And I've been able to add a little bit more to the bottom so I can actually pick it up and put it down. That's really good. And I'm going to be displaying that at Bristol Comic Con, which is on March 18th. So a little under a month away. I did Comic Con last year, and that was really fun. And doing it again this year, I think it was like a done deal sort of thing. It's like, yeah, that'd be cool. I'll be in cosplay again. That'd be interesting to do as well. I don't think I've worn my Captain Britain cosplay since Comic Con last year. So yeah, I mean, Comic Con was really fun as is because it's a very different experience to the Lego shows we normally do. But I really hope I can still fit in the suit. I hope my belly isn't too obvious, if anything. But yeah, the two main bits are back there. The rest of the suit has been repurposed, but that's over there. I can definitely get it out again, so it can work. I'll have to ditch the gloves, I think. Well, I'll leave it. I'll leave it till we're closer to the day. So yeah, Comic Con, that's definitely gonna be happening. That's gonna be a lot of fun again. And Deathwing will be in my Lego display. So last year I went as a volunteer. This year I'm technically going as a displayer, and yeah, it's Deathwing. I wonder how many people will recognize that. Oh Christ. Yeah, so I'm gonna do a showcase video on the bus just as is, because again, I'm not expanding that any further, which is a real shame because I just realized I bought parts to expand Deathwing. Maybe I don't know. Maybe in time the entire thing will be built to be bigger, but you know, it would be cool to make the full statue. But I think that's going to be a few decades away, which is a bit of a shame. Well, a shame in the sense that I'm not going to be able to do it now, but you know, realisms, keep it real, So that's a thing altogether. Speaking of videos, more video ideas, the last one I will discuss before we wrap up the stream. The Nerf N-Stroke Elite 2.0 Storm Charge is not in the UK, and that annoys me. Oh. Because this is a blaster that is getting good reviews, and it's not available in my country. That is seriously frustrating because I want one. This is also good in the sense that because I can't easily get one, I'm not spending the money on it, which is, again, a good thing in its own way. I'm trying to save money, not spend money. So this is like a secret blessing, so to say. It would be good to try and do something with the other blasters I've got. And I have said this actually, so... Oh, pardon me. I think for tomorrow's live stream then, I could take advantage and try and get a Nerf blaster shooting range thing set up. Yeah, it's definitely possible, because I'm definitely going to be firing at this wall here, so it hits this and then bounces downwards onto the bed. So gathering the darts should hopefully be quite easy. Yeah, I'll have to think on that though, because I need to set up the camera, make sure everything's working properly. Like this stand here would definitely be what I will use for the live stream. It will be over there in the sort of corner where I normally put it when I record Nerf videos regularly. So that's a thing to consider. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on. But going back to the Storm Charge, I did want to get one because it is a good looking blaster. The review would be fun, and a comparison, doing a Nerf versus video of that and the Phoenix from Elite 2.0, which was the initial Strife replacement, but the Storm Charge came in and basically took over that sort of title, unofficially, but the idea is still there. So yeah, that's something I could definitely do in the future. but it's going to be a while until I can get a storm charge because there's nowhere there. Let me go to blastertime.eu, and we have been going for 1 hour. All right, we'll be wrapping up in a moment. But yeah, there is nowhere that seems to be selling them where it ships to the UK. They've got all of the Nerf Limited stuff, the Game Face Try-On. Spell Storm Charge properly. Come on, Storm Charge. Okey-doke. Nothing. Right, that's something I'm going to look at in the future because, again, I do want to get my hands on one, but it's going to be a bit of a while, I think, before I can do so. See, this is I've had this issue with Nerf before loads of times in the past where they will release a blaster and it will be a good blaster that people will want, but it won't be available in the UK where I live. So we only get half of the options that get released. Yeah, so again, I've gone over this before. That looks interesting. Right, I'm getting distracted now. Let's leave that all there. That's something else for another day. Comic-Con sounds mad too. Sounds mad, too bad I'm stuck on the other side of the planet. Well, there's loads of Comic-Con conventions in every country. Well, maybe not every country, but, you know, there's loads of Comic-Cons out there. The fact that Bristol does one, where my lug is based, is quite cool because I didn't think we did one. It's more so in the major cities, like London, for example. London, what's the main one? San Diego Comic-Con? San Diego? Is that the main place in America where it takes place? I don't know. But yeah, there's if we get one, then there's going to be loads out there, and it's really cool. I'm going to have to suit up again. I'm tempted because do I? Oh God, I don't even. You know what? I've just had a brilliant idea for the cosplay, and I might have to change the plans. Okay, I'll leave that for another time. Right, okay, too many ideas going through my mind. It is now 1 o'clock. It is lunchtime for me, so let's end the stream. Sun's back out. That's looking good. Time to get on with the rest of the day. I do have things to get on with as well, which is pretty good. And it is mainly in preparation for the narrow gauge layout. Did I even post that? I must have posted the picture somewhere. Oh, I know where I posted it. It was on Facebook to a private group, but that's something else entirely. Right, so the title of this stream is the lunchtime stream because between midday and 1 o'clock is when I would normally go for lunch. And it's at this point where, you know, it's now gone 1 o'clock. Lunchtime seems like a good idea. So we do have people tuning in at this time, which is excellent. I did have plenty to talk about, which is really good as well. Thank you so much to everybody who has tuned in for this live stream. It is really good to see that there are people who are able to make it at this time zone. In the past, I have talked about doing live streams at different times in the day to see if it's still possible in the sense that people will actually tune in. We do have a bunch of people tuning in. Again, time zones to let other people in my subscriber base have the chance to actually come in and say hello, etc. It's working, so that's a good thing. That means I can definitely do these in the future. It would be ideal to try and do them at this time as well because it's a much easier thing for me to do it now, you know, in the middle of the day than it is for me to do it in the evening because I can commit to this more so in the day because of how my daily schedule works out. And I can do this at any time of day or any day in the week, I should say, because relying on one evening every week is not as reliable as it used to be. So, yeah, that's a thing. All the same, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much to everyone who has tuned in. Make sure you are clicking all of the links in the description for my socials. And if you are not in the Discord server already, make sure you have done so because it is a great place to chat with like-minded fans of LEGO Trains and Nerf Blasters. Plenty of videos are on the way, so keep an eye out for that. There are polls in my community tab, so make sure you have a look there and cast your votes for the future content of this channel. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I shall see you all tomorrow for the next live stream. Okay, take care, everyone.